Hi, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of notable people in North Texas. My guest today is the Reverend Dr. Bruce Pratt, pastor at Mound Community Church. Thanks for being here, Reverend Pratt.
My pleasure.
If you would begin by telling our viewers something about your beautiful and stately church right here on Cross Timbers Road and Glenwick Boulevard.
The church originally was a plant of the National Association of Congregational Christian Churches, long title, in 1975, and the first location was where Tom Thumb and the drive-through Starbucks is on Garden Ridge and 1171. They sold that property, gave the building to the Lutheran Church on Garden Ridge, and bought and built on the current site. We changed the name to Flower Mound Community Church in 2003 because people didn't know how to identify with it. What was that there? Congregational church, Pilgrims and Puritans, do you wear hats and buckles on your boots?
Yeah.
So we changed the name to Flower Mound Community Church in 2003.
And it is a non-denominational church. What is the explanation? I mean, what does that mean, non-denominational?
So we're Christians, and we are not affiliated with any particular denomination, like the Presbyterians or the Methodists. We have no hierarchy over us, and because of that, we also have Christians from all sorts of different walks: Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Charismatic. All of us trying to come together and be a community.
Okay, how about, we're going to talk about the Easter holiday. It's just around the corner, so if you would give us a little background on what's the history of that special day?
Well, Easter celebrates the bodily resurrection of the incarnate Son of God. So that is that as the Son of God, Jesus, was crucified, he died, he was buried, and he was resurrected, which is not a resuscitation. He just didn't kind of wake up. He was spiritually transformed and took on a body and was full of power in a way not like you and I. And it provided proof of victory over death, sin and death.
Now, which books of the Bible describe the account of Jesus' resurrection?
You have the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The earliest of those is Mark, probably around 60 A.D. That would be the earliest of the Gospel accounts of the resurrection.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
John, and Mark would be the earliest.
Okay. Now, after the resurrection, does Jesus appear in the flesh to his disciples?
Yes, he does, several times. There's the instance of Thomas touching his side. There's an instance of him meeting his disciples up in Galilee, eating fish with them by Capernaum, so he's appeared to them several times.
Some accounts say that angels bring the news of his resurrection.
It's yes and a no, so it depends on which gospel account you're reading. Not off the top of my head. One of them has Jesus appearing directly to Mary, where she's like, "What have you done with my Lord? Where have you taken him?" And he says, "Mary, I'm here." So it depends on which account you're reading. It will depend on which message you receive.
Now, as I recall my Bible teachings, and I don't know how much I really recall, but I seem to recall that Jesus was buried in a cave and there was a rolling rock that was turned over to block the opening.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And when he was resurrected, the rock was still in place?
It was rolled aside.
It was rolled aside.
It was rolled in place with the seal, Roman seal, placed over it and guarded, which is why when it was rolled away, they were like, nobody could have moved this on themselves. What happened to the guards? How did this happen? And if you go to Jerusalem, there's two possible places where they think the tomb might have been. The traditional rendering is the tomb of the Holy Sepulchre, and then the newer one unveiled by the British is the Garden Tomb.
That must be a great place to go.
It's amazing.
You've been there?
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I want to go there someday. I think that's got to be a real amazing place to see and to be where Jesus was.
I think it's the Garden Tomb. That's my vote,
Yeah.
but you know.
Yeah. Is there a significance to the 3 days it took after Jesus' death for him to be resurrected?
Yes, so 3 in biblical numerology is the number of God. So by saying it's 3, it's saying this is something God did. But it's not 3 24-hour cycles as we traditionally understand that, because then if you did that, you'd push it further beyond. It's the first century understanding of day. And it's a reference directly to an earlier prophetic word in Jonah, where Jonah was swallowed by the whale, and or a big fish actually is how it is in Hebrew. And he was in the belly of the whale for 3 days. And it becomes the sign. So when Jesus says, I show you nothing but the sign of Jonah, he's referencing that book, saying, just as he was in some sort of cavern for 3 days, I will be in a cavern for 3 days. And as he appeared, so will I appear.
Very nice. Yes, that didn't come up in our Bible study class.
Well, okay, that's okay. That's good. That's why I'm here.
I'm always learning more. That's why it's so good to speak with you. Now, according to the Bible, after Jesus' death, believers lost faith in him as the Son of God, because they didn't think if you're the Son of God, you can't die. However, his resurrection proved his divinity.
Yeah.
So, what were they feeling? Well, first of all, how do I ask this? I mean, when they first found out that Jesus died, they must have said, "Oh, I thought he was God or the Son of God. How could that happen?" So then, when he was resurrected, that certainly cemented their belief in his divinity, I suppose.
So my personal take on it is I don't think the disciples or the religious leaders of the day fully grasped what he was talking about. Not only telling them that he was going to die, but that he would have a resurrection. My own personal opinion from the study I've done is that they were expecting a military conqueror to come in who would come in, and because it was a Passover, every Jewish male had to come into the town. So every Jewish male from all over the country came in there. They were looking at Jesus as this military conqueror. Everybody was armed and ready to go, which is one reason why Peter had a sword in the garden, to cut off that guy's ear. And they were expecting rebellion, and when it didn't happen, they've now become enemy number 1 of the Roman state. And so as soon as he's taken prisoner, they're gone. Only to learn that that was not the intent. The intent was a larger victory.
Oh, this is good. This is good. I'm learning a lot here. Okay. Oh, and let me get on to this. What is the significance of Palm Sunday, a week before Easter?
So Palm Sunday is part of that. It's the ascent to Jerusalem. If you're in Israel, this is Israel. Doesn't look like Israel. Everything leads vertically upward into Jerusalem. So you're going up, you ascend into Jerusalem, and Jesus would have come from the south in the city of David up into the Temple Mount, and he would have gone through what is now the Dung Gate, past the Wailing Wall, interestingly enough, when he's talking about the rocks that cry out. Those rocks are still there. And they're expecting this Passover celebration, which was freedom and redemption from the hands of tyranny at the hands of the Egyptians. They're expecting a repeat of that their shackles are going to be thrown off. The palm branches are a signifier of righteousness. So when they cut the palm branches down and they're waving, they're saying, this is our righteous king who's going to come and deliver us from the oppressive Romans and our oppressive religious leaders of the day. So everybody's in Jerusalem, the men are there, all the families are there, everybody's excited and thrilled. They're thinking, this is our day of freedom. And the religious leaders by this time are sweating bullets, which is why after Lazarus, Caiaphas says, if we don't, one of the leaders says, if we don't kill him now, they're all going to follow him. And then we're in trouble. Because the religious leaders and the Romans were hand in glove.
Wow. All right, I have a kind of an off-the-wall question here, but I've always wondered this myself. Why are rabbits, the Easter bunnies, associated with Easter?
I have no idea. I don't know. I just know I like Cadbury cream eggs, that's all I know. They come out at Easter time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if that was, I think rabbits are a symbol of fertility or something, so that could be the reason. All right, this has been wonderful, but we're being grabbed by the clock. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
The only thing I want to say about Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, is it is a Sunday of hope and power and victory, because our enmity and estrangement from God and each other and our eternal destiny is wiped away in one fell swoop.
I want to really thank you for being here, Reverend Bruce. And
Thank you, Bob.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you.
And thanks you for watching.